Hey there guys, welcome to my compound life. I am Jonathan. This is a channel where we build assets, we build habits, and of course we build freedom. That would be financial freedom, time freedom for you, me, and anyone else that watches my channel. So if you're new here, I make Bitcoin video almost every single day. As you can see, we are now 791 days away from the next Bitcoin halving date. So reminder to drop a like, hit subscribe, let me know where you guys are watching from. Just leave me a comment in the comment section. It's always nice to hear from viewer. And let me know which number subscribers you guys are, because I'm trying to get up to 800 subscribers and eventually to 1,000 subscribers. So help a small content creator out. Even if you don't like the content, just hit the like and hit subscribe. So, quick disclaimer. This is not financial or investment advice. I'm not a licensed advisor. Everything here is for education and entertainment only. So let's get started, guys. Let's get started. Okay. Make myself smaller now. Right. So today we're hitting on something that should make you sit up and pay a lot of attention, guys. So only 5% or less. Actually, it's actually a lot more less. Yeah. 5% or less of Bitcoin total supply remains to be mined. So that's right. Out of the hard cap 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist, over 95.179% has already been dug up and put into circulation. Okay, so we're talking roughly 19.98 to 19.99 million mined right now as of February 2026. And with just around 1 million plus Bitcoin left to ever come online. Okay. And that last bit, it won't finish until, that last bit of Bitcoin won't be mined until the year 2140. So it's 2140. I think that's when the last Bitcoin will be mined. So we are still kind of far away, like hundreds of years away, right? But so far, this cycle, we're minting or mining approximately 3.25 Bitcoin per block. So a total of 450 new Bitcoin gets minted or mined per day. Okay. So if you're in your 40s, 50s, even in your 60s, like a lot of my viewers, this scarcity clock matters a ton for all of us. So you're not chasing get rich quick schemes anymore, right? So if your sole purpose of buying Bitcoin is to get rich quick, this is not the right asset to help you to get there, guys. So you're thinking about grinding through the last 10, 20 working years, paying down that mortgage, covering rising health insurance, maybe helping kids or grandkids to get started, get into their first home, first property, and hopefully retiring a few years earlier than the standard 65 or 67 without, scraping by. So Bitcoin's built-in scarcity is one of the few things left that fights back against endless money printing in your part of the world, in the US, as well as the part of the world in the UK and the rest of the Europe too, right? And inflation that's quietly eaten up all of our savings for decades. So let's break it down simply, and I'll explain why this could be a smart piece for your long game plan. Why Bitcoin can solve a lot of this for all of us. Right. So, okay. So first off, why does only 5% left hit different? Imagine a limited neighborhood, say a beachfront community with exactly 21 houses in total. 19 or 20 are already built and owned, only 1 or 2 spots remaining. As most people want in, retirees, families, investors, so those last spots gets beat up really, really hard. And Bitcoin works the same way too. But in a digital in a digital environment, but global, right? So not a beachfront type of piece of land in I don't know where, in California or in, I don't know, Blackpool, I don't know, right? So Bitcoin, it's digital and it's global. So no one can be printed, not even the government and central banks. None of them, no central entity can inflate it away like dollars, like the pounds, the euros. Yeah. So for us, regular folks who have seen our grocery bills doubled, house prices tripled since the early 90s, and saving accounts pay peanuts after inflation. So this fixed supply is a hedge. This Bitcoin fixed supply is a hedge for us for inflation. It's not about timing the market perfectly. It's about owning a tiny slice before the window narrow even more. So right now, Bitcoin's around 65,000 at the time of recording. After this recent dip, we've seen it bounce around 60,000 to about 70,000 lately. That means the entire remaining supply to be mined, which, remind you again, it's about 1 million Bitcoin, is worth roughly about 68 to 70 billion dollars at current price. Okay, sounds huge, but spread across 8 billion people on Earth, that's not huge. That's scarcity, right? So effective supply per person will be very, very tiny. And remember, estimates say 20 to 30% of all existing Bitcoin is lost forever. Lost key, dead owners like Satoshi Nakamoto, old hard drives that cannot be recovered. I think there's a gentleman, I think from the UK, he somehow chucked his Bitcoin into his hard drive, into the landfill, and then he couldn't recover it ever since. These are all lost Bitcoin. So the real usable supply is even smaller, maybe close to about 15 million effective coins circulating long term. So owning even a small fraction puts you ahead of most. So for someone in their working years, so that's me, that's you, right? So we're not ultra rich. This scarcity creates quite an urgency for all of us now. Okay, you don't need to buy a whole coin, a whole Bitcoin that costs about 70,000. I mean, that's crazy money, right? Because buying outright, it's out of reach for many of us. But grabbing just 0.01 or 0.05 or aiming for 0.1 Bitcoin or 0.2 Bitcoin over time, guys, that's doable. Of course, with consistent effort, of course. So think of it like the extra $50 to $100 a month you started putting into your 401 or IRA years ago in the UK. You put that into your ISA, right? Cash ISA, your investment ISA. It felt small then, but compounded nicely. So Bitcoin can do the same, but with potential for bigger upside because of this shrinking supply. So now, since I've covered stacking to 0.1 and even aiming for 0.2 Bitcoin in recent videos, so go check it out, guys. And those plans still hold strong, of course. Dollar cost averaging, small amount weekly, ramping up on dips like we're seeing now, right? $60,000 worth of Bitcoin. That's pretty cheap. So let's focus here on why this scarcity makes even modest stacking feel more pressing without repeating a full how-to. Okay, so again, reminder, Bitcoin halving date counting down, 791 days left until the next Bitcoin halving date. That will be the 12th of April 2028. And of course, Bitcoin halving, essentially what you see, the key shift as daily new supply drops further after the next halving in 2028. That's there. Reward halves again to about 1.5625 Bitcoin per block. The flow of fresh Bitcoin slows to a crawl. Okay, so we've only recently had a Bitcoin halving, right? So that was in 2024, April the 20th. Before that, all of the block reward was about 6.25 Bitcoin. And then after the halving event, that would be 3.125. Okay, so every block right now that gets generated by the miners, they will be rewarded about 3.125 Bitcoin. However, by the time we reach 2028, around April the 17th, maybe, the mining blocks, the miners will only get rewarded about 1.5625 worth of Bitcoin. Okay, so essentially you're seeing half. Okay, so demand for everyday people, big funds, and even country keeps taking up, and we know that. Look at the ETFs that I'm showing you guys every single day, that I report to you guys, like how many inflows, how many outflows. Look at how much MicroStrategy are buying. Look at how much Binance are buying. Look at how much Bitmines are buying for Ethereum. That's not Bitcoin, but anyway, the demand keeps going up. However, the supply that gets generated keeps on going down like that. Okay, so number of Bitcoin illustrated in green, the supply are going down. Okay, so supply shock will definitely come, guys. So that mismatch, it historically pushes value higher over each cycles. Okay, so let's look at real price action, right? So this was the recent halving event. April the 20th, Bitcoin was at around 63,000. Okay, so I think afterwards the supply shock kicks in. Boom, Bitcoin price gone to about 126. So this is why I always tell you guys, the best time to buy Bitcoin will be approximately 500 days before the halving. Okay, 500 days before the halving, that will be here, right? So once you get into here, if you love dollar cost average, continue to do your dollar cost average, but you want to concentrate as much dollar cost average here as possible, right? So once Bitcoin halving kicked in, how long does it take to get to the all-time high? Approximately 500 days, approximately 76 weeks. So recent halving was somewhere in April the 20th, 2024. and then we got into all-time high around Q4, October 2025. Okay, that's approximately 500 days, guys. Okay, so the best time to buy Bitcoin will be at the bear market. Okay, so if we scroll back a little bit, right? Not the last cycle, but the last cycle. Okay, that's the third cycle, by the way. So halving date happens sometime in May 11th, 2020. Similar timing to recent April 20th. It's just like about months apart. Okay. So after the halving, supply shock gradually kicks in, and of course, Bitcoin price pump. Right? How long did it take to get to the all-time high? So the last all-time high. So Bitcoin halving price was around 8,700, about 9,000, let's say. Okay, about 9,000, and then for it to get from 9,000 to this is about 69,000, and that was done so through about 78 weeks. So I guess this is why a lot of people are quite disappointed with the recent halving, because from here to here, that was just about 2x. But previously, that was like multiple X, even from a halving. And imagine if you kind of bought in at the low here, right? That would give you pretty good return, okay? So the same apply for the second halving. Second halving is sometime here. The 9th of July 2016. And then about 75 weeks after, about 500 days after, that's when the supply shock kicks in. Bitcoin went from about $700 to about $20,000. Okay, so yeah, I think supply shocks. So demand for everybody, everyday people, big funds will drive the supply shock, right? And so I hope whomever is watching my video right now, for you, me, grinding the daily jobs, this means your small regular buys today capture more of that scarce asset before it runs out. So this narrative hits mainstream hardest, right? So it's like buying into a closing sale on something truly limited edition of that Hermes bag, right? You don't need the whole store. You just buy enough to benefit when prices reflect the tightness. Okay, so I hear from viewers all the time, I'm not trying to quit work tomorrow, but I want options. Okay, so buying Bitcoin now at this price, you won't suddenly become a millionaire unless you invest a lot of money into it, right? But a modest Bitcoin position built steadily can become that quiet backup plan, like what I have right now, because I've entered early in multiple cycles already, right? So maybe it covers an extra year of retirement income, pays for a medical procedure without draining savings, or gives your family a leg up. Surely your kids will want to buy their own property one day, and assets will cost even more because of this infinite money printing and infinite inflation going on right now. So not flashy, but real. Buying Bitcoin. Of course, keep it balanced. Volatility is real. This dip proves it. So stick to what you can afford to hold for the long term. Maybe 5 or 10% of your investable assets. Diversity is, diversity with your existing stocks, property, emergency funds, and so forth, right? And of course, always remember, use your hardware wallet for peace of mind, safekeeping. Take your Bitcoin out from exchanges. Take your Bitcoin out from cold wallet. Okay, so cold wallet, essentially our wallet on your mobile device, right? These are cold wallet. You can easily just lose the app, someone can hack into it and steal your seed phrases, or somehow they can, use keyboard loggers to log, all of your keyword phrases, right? You don't want that. So use hardware wallet for peace of mind. So I'm curious now, with only 5% left to mine, has this scarcity angle made you think differently about starting or adding Bitcoin? Drop a comment. Yes, I'm kind of considering it more now, or already stacking small, or still on the fence. I'm still waiting for the dip. Just let me know your thoughts. I read every single one of your comments. Bottom line, guys, scarcity like this doesn't happen in traditional money or even traditional assets. You work hard building what you have. Adding a piece of something truly finite could help you finish the working years stronger and step into retirement with a bit more security. Maybe even a couple of years earlier into your retirement too, right? Retiring early. So if this clicked for you, hit the like, guys. If it helps me to spread the word out to more people. Okay, subscribe for more on steady compounding content. Last question for the comments. What's your biggest takeaway from hearing that only 5% of Bitcoin supply is left to be mined? Let me know below, okay? So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching to the end. It really does help me. Let's continue to build assets, build habits, and freedom in our compound life, guys. So talk soon and goodbye. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.